Hey guys, it's Yuki here. Welcome back to my channel. On my last video, I talked about a lot of my recommendations and also things I don't recommend buying from Aritzia, and a lot of you guys asked me how I washed my Rourke cardigan. Today, I am going to take you through the entire process. So I'm going to show you how I hand wash this cardigan and also my other wool sweaters. The entire process is actually not very hard, but there are mistakes that are really easy to make if you haven't really had experience hand washing things before. That's why I'm here. I'm going to give you all those tips. Also give you guys some tips on how to maintain your wool sweaters so that they last longer and give you more value for your money. Before we get started, I just want to say that all of these things that I'm about to show you are from trial and error, my personal experience, and if by any chance you follow this process and ruin your sweater, please don't blame me. My process is definitely not perfect, and hopefully you guys can just take what I'm about to show you and just keep on improving from there. You can just think of me as your older sister who has made a bunch of mistakes in the past and showing you how to take care of your expensive clothes. With that being said, let's get started. So today I'm going to be washing the Rourke cardigan. I showed it right here in my last video, and I started washing it yesterday and it's still drying on the floor. So throughout this process, I'm going to be using this cardigan, and this one is the Canberra cardigan, also 100% wool from Aritzia, and I'll just be using this to kind of demonstrate how I hand wash. What you're going to need for hand washing your sweaters are the following items. First, you're going to need a plastic bin of some sort. My bin is from Amazon. It's a perfect size for washing sweaters, so I love that. It also fits in my sink really well because I think it's meant for washing dishes. I love this bin for hand washing. And in terms of actual detergent, I've read a lot of things for my own research, and I've also tried a bunch of things. So I've tried like detergent, I've tried conditioner. Now I'm using these laundry strips. These laundry strips from True Earth, and True Earth is actually kind enough to send me more of their products for me to try. I've already been using them to do my laundry, and I was just super excited when they reached out and offered to send me more products. I absolutely love them. The strips are super concentrated. You don't need a huge detergent bottle to wash your clothes. Super easy to use. You just put the strip in. There's no measuring, there's no mess, great for the environment. So I just wanted to share these with you guys. I just think that the traditional laundry process is so wasteful, and these are just such a great solution. I will link all of their info in the description box below so you guys can take a look. And I just wanted to share that with you guys and spread the message because they are really, really great. Another thing you're gonna need are tons of towels on hand. The process that I use to dry my wool sweaters does take quite a long time, and you're gonna need to switch out towels from time to time to make sure that they absorb all the water from your sweater. Plastic bin, detergent, and a lot of towels is what you're gonna need. So how often should you actually hand wash your sweaters? Even though hand washing your sweaters is more gentle than throwing them in the washing machine, each time you wash your sweaters, it does kind of degrade the wool fibers a little bit more. So you generally just want to avoid washing it super often. Once per season is probably good enough. All right, so let's get started with the hand washing process. I take my little laundry strips. The one that I use is the fragrance free. One of these strips is good for an entire load of laundry, and obviously if you're just washing one sweater, you're not going to need an entire strip. So I cut about a third off of one of these strips. This is where I'm going to share with you my first tip, and this tip is so important, so make sure that you remember this or write this down. You want to make sure that you mix in your detergent in your water before you put your sweater in. Before, not after. You don't want to put your sweater in the tub and then run the faucet over the sweater, because what is going to happen is the friction from the water is just going to ruin this knit, and it's going to make it like fuzzy, just ruin the texture of your sweater. So you don't want that to happen. And by doing it this way, you also avoid having a lot of detergent just concentrate on one area of your sweater, because depending on what you're using, you could also kind of take the color away. It could end up being a little bit lighter than the rest of your sweater. So you want to make sure the detergent is completely mixed in and you have your tub full of water before you put your sweater in. In terms of water temperature, this is also kind of important because you don't want to use water that's too hot, because that will also change the shape of your sweaters. I try to use cold water, but not super cold water, just water that feels a little bit cooler than my hand. So by this time, you should have your water in your bin and the detergent is completely dissolved and mixed in. And at this point, you can finally put your sweater into your bin, and you just want to push it into the water gently. Just get all of the fibers and parts of your sweater just soaked in the water and detergent mix. And now we get to the actual washing part. And this is where I come to my next tip. When your sweater is submerged in water and it's completely wet, it's at its most delicate state. So you really just want to do everything you can to agitate it as little as possible, because it's so important for it to retain its shape while it's in this state. So what I like to do when I'm washing it is just kind of push it into the water, just like gently kind of try to push the dirt out. And like I said, like wool doesn't really get super dirty anyways, so you don't really need to use a lot of force and rub it against each other. You never want to rub it against the other fibers. Like, let me demonstrate. You never want to go like this and just rub one part of the sweater against the other. It's the same logic as not running the water right on the sweater, because it's just going to ruin the texture, and you also might stretch out that part of your sweater because you're using so much force on it. So just remember, use as little force as possible, as little agitation as possible. It's like an animal that you don't want to provoke, so you're just like gently massaging it. So yeah, you just want to do that for like maybe a minute. You don't really have to do it for that long. And then after that, I just walk away. I just let it soak in the detergent for 10 minutes, and I feel like that just gets rid of the remaining dirt. And yeah, that's pretty much the washing process. So what comes after you actually wash the sweater is getting all the detergent out. And here is where I move on to the next very important step. I feel like all of these steps are so important. So the first part is when you're actually pouring the water out from the bin. What I like to do is just move the sweater to one corner of the bin and kind of just pour the water, but make sure that you have a hand supporting your sweater when you're pouring the water out. And wool absorbs a ton of water, so it gets very, very heavy, but it's very important that you don't do this with your sweater, because what's going to happen when you're lifting the sweater is that all of the weight that's concentrated from the water on your bottom of the sweater is just going to stretch your entire sweater out, and that's how you get a sweater that's completely misshapen and completely ruined. What I do is I just kind of push the sweater into the bin gently, not super hard, and just kind of get as much water out of it as possible. And you're not going to get every single drop out of your sweater. It's still going to be very wet, and that's just something that you're going to have to deal with. Like, there's really, from my personal experience, no way around it. Again, you don't want to let the faucet run directly over your sweater, so I like to take my first towel. This is why you need so many towels. So I take my first towel and I put it over the entire sweater. I turn the bin upside down. That's when I fill my bin up with water again. You just want to do that, and then after your bin is filled with water again, you want to take your sweater and you want to support all the weight from the bottom and just gently place it back in the water where you can push the remaining laundry detergent out. If you feel like there's no more detergent left in the sweater, I think rinsing it once is fine. But if you really wanted to, you could repeat this process again and rinse it one more time, and then you should be completely good to go. So yeah, important takeaways: never ever lift a wet sweater like this because it'll stretch out, and also never run water directly over the sweater. Okay, so now is the point where we actually dry the sweater. So we are done with the washing part. I know I've been talking for a while, but it actually doesn't take too long. But when you're done with the washing process, your sweater is going to be very, very wet, and it's going to take a long time to dry. Same as what I was saying about not holding up the sweater. You never ever want to hang dry a wool sweater for the same reason. It's going to stretch out. You're going to get like weird pulls here and there, and it's just not going to be cute. So what you want to do is actually just dry it flat. So the way that I do this is, first I lay a large towel on the floor and then very gently just place my sweater onto the towel, and then just spend a couple minutes shaping it exactly how it was before you washed it. So you can see that I actually took my sweet time doing that with my cardigan. Cardigans are a little bit harder to do than like regular sweaters in my opinion, because there's just all these flaps and you want to make sure everything is like laid flat. Front and the back are still the same length. However you lay this sweater is how it's going to dry. So you want to lay it exactly how it was. I would lay another towel on top of it just so that it dries a little bit faster. And yeah, you're pretty much done. However, the first time you lay it flat to dry, your sweater is probably going to be really wet. So you're gonna have to switch out your towel within like 30 minutes, but then afterwards you can wait like a couple hours. This is the part that's going to take the longest in the entire process, but the good thing is that it's pretty hands-off. Other than switching out the towels, you don't really need to worry about it. And you'll see that when I'm switching out towels, I kind of lay out my towel right next to it, and then I just kind of flipping it onto the next towel and then unfolding it, so that saves a little bit of time and you don't pull the sweater at all. And if you have enough towels, I would put one on top. If you don't, you can just fold the bottom over your sweater, and that kind of helps it dry a little bit faster. After you're done, you just wait for it to dry and you should be good to go. That is my entire process for hand washing a delicate sweater. You can probably tell that I try to use as little force with it as possible, just try to agitate it as little as possible. So it is the week after and my cardigan is officially dry, and I can show you the official before and after of my hand washing video. So here is the cardigan after washing. You can see it didn't shrink and it didn't stretch out in a horrible way. So I am very happy about that. I'll show you the before and after. So here is the after shot of the Rourke cardigan versus the before. As you can see, they're pretty much the same, and I will say that if you do end up stretching out your sweater or there's something that happens by accident and you misshape it a little bit, it's totally okay. Nobody's gonna notice except for you. And the best part is you managed to hand wash your own sweater without having to dry clean it, and you did it successfully, so that is great. And I also wanted to show you guys how you can get rid of the pilling on your sweater. It's actually super simple and it helps with pilling on all sweaters and tank tops. I'm actually going to do it on my cardigan. So this is what I use to get rid of pilling on all of my clothes. This is actually my boyfriend's. I steal it from time to time and I use it to depill my sweaters as well. And if you've started to invest in a lot of high quality sweaters and wool coats, I would definitely recommend one of these. It'll just extend the life of all your clothes for so much longer and make your outfits look much cleaner. I just wanted to demonstrate the depiller for you guys. There was a part that was super fuzzy at the back hem that is pretty much completely gone. So as you can see, the depiller pretty much worked as magic on the knit. There was a lot of pilling on this sweater and I've managed to minimize it as little as possible. The little gadget is magic in my opinion, and I would definitely recommend you get one if you have started investing in more expensive clothing. So that was my entire process of hand washing and maintaining my pure wool sweaters. I hope these tips helped you, and let me know in the comments if there are other things that have worked for you as well. I would love to learn about them, and I'm sure other people in this community would love to learn about it as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram right here. If you end up hand washing your sweaters, let me know how it goes. I'm fingers crossed, like hoping that it works for you as well. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Check out my other Aritzia videos. I will link them below, and I hope you guys all have a really great week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!